Hey, welcome back. It is a beautiful day here in Utah, and I've got the garage door open, I got the sun setting, and we are gonna put flat fenders on the Jeep. So this is actually a surprisingly easy install. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove a bunch of 10mm bolts that are all inside the front fender flare. Once I've got those removed, then it's just pulling out the plugs and then pulling the fender off. So let's get to it. It's gonna be super fast. Before you remove the fender flare, make sure you disconnect this light. Easiest way, just reach up in here, rotate like this, and just pull it right out. Once you've got this disconnected, there is a zip tie up here you're gonna wanna just snip off. Just pull that clear. So once all the clips are undone and the bolts are out, put on a pair of gloves if you don't have a set on already. This will make things a little easier. And all you're gonna do is just kind of pull things loose. There's this whole series of clips, little pop clips that are holding all this on. Now the one tricky part, especially if you've got Falcon shocks, is that the inner fender liner is actually wrapped around that Falcon shock behind it. So as you pull it off, you'll have to wiggle and kind of pull that out. It's a little tricky, but hopefully you can figure it out. There it goes. Feels very violent, doesn't it? All right, let's get this off. There it goes. And I've got one more bolt, that's the problem. Oh, that bolt is different. Inevitably what happens if you're not careful is you miss a bolt. And voila. Your Jeep's like mine, you'll still have a bunch of these little pop clips left. Just get your little pry tool or screwdriver and pop them off. Believe me, it sounds worse than it really is. It makes a really big echoing sound, but it's not doing damage. And if you're careful, especially if you point down instead of up, like if I do this, I'm gonna hurt my paint and stuff up top. You can do this. There's also pry tools out there you can get that are specially made for touching paint and things. You can get plastic ones. Those would work great here as well if you've got a set of those. I know my buddy Ryan has a set that he bought on Amazon for pretty cheap. So just get all these little pieces off and then clean all the holes out real good. It's not hard and it's not a lot of work. And of course, once you've done the front, you just gotta go and do the back as well. The little rib nuts, they're not rib nuts. The little pegs and that are holding everything on are a little trickier in the back. And I found that if you get the ones on the lip here, as well as the ones inside on the inner fender, then it will work pretty well. But again, since you're probably not saving these, it's not a big deal if you kind of tear them up and rip the things. They're just plastic, and if you just pry them up and get them off, you don't have to be particularly gentle. Just work on getting them all the way out and work your way all the way around. The biggest thing is to make sure you look for them all. There's one here, one there, one up there, one up there, one back here. So, just get them all and make sure you cover them all. All right, that's a pile of old Fenders. And remember, just remove all these little clips as best you can. If you're at a point where you can't remove a clip, easily, one thing you could do is get a set of pliers or something like that. So here's a set of Channellocks. I'm just going to grab onto either side of this thing, squinch it, and just rip it out. Easy. Not reusing them, so it doesn't matter if you damage them. Don't scratch the paint. Yeah, bent a little bit. There's probably easier and better ways to take these out, but this seems to work pretty well for me. And just like on the front, you want to make sure you clean it off real good before you put new stuff on. It's always nice to inspect your things for damage too. While you have them off, clean stuff off, inspect for damage, see what's going on. I can see a lot of grease in here. I can see a lot of scratches from when my old Fender flares had gotten broken loose and they were kind of scratching and bumping, so little paint scratches. Any spots that don't have paint on them, make sure you put a little more paint on it to mask it so you don't get rust, especially if you live in humid climates. We live in Utah, so rust doesn't go as quickly, but it still happens. So make sure you get all of those bare metal spots covered up with any paint. I like to just use a little diaper wipe because we got 5 kids and we got plenty of those. So it's nice preliminary cleaning, but then afterwards you can go through it with an actual nice microfiber cloth or something like that. So with the fender off, it's actually really easy to get to this clip up here. So you're gonna take, easier. There's a spot right here that you're gonna wanna push. And as you push that, just pull this down. So again, you're pushing right up on the top here, and then that releases the clip and just pull it right on out. So next, lay out all your hardware to make it easy to find everything. You want to take one of these bolts, put a washer on it, and you're going to use one of these nuts that has a built-in washer on the back of it on the other side. And you're just going to put these in all the holes on the front. Doing the front is nice because there's actually this little arm right here you can use to rest it, and if you've got some side steps like mine, you can literally just place it almost there without having to worry about putting any screws in. And it sits nicely and holds yourself up so you can put your bolts in. So next you want to just loosely put in your screws and hardware. And again, the key is you want to put it in loosely because you still need to do a few things. So again, you've got a screw with a washer. You're going to kind of poke it through and then find the spot on the back side and put that nut in place. You might find it easier to put the nut up first and just kind of loosely feel it. Okay, it's in there. Thread a couple threads in and move on to the next one. Okay, I'm going to put my fingers back up here, find the hole. I can actually see the hole through here, and I'm going to loosely get this into place. And this is why you do it loose, because in this case I need to shift that back a little bit. If that was tight, that would make it very difficult to do. And as you do it, it gets easier and easier. So in this one, I got to push down a little bit. You see the whole thing's going to tilt. Put my nut up there. It's tricky to do this one-handed. got a few pieces in there though. Again, that's all you need is a few threads to get it in the right place. Tilt this down, put that there, find the threads on the back, and just thread a little bit. One of the reasons you're doing this loose is not just because you want to make it easy on yourself, but you're also gonna be putting a waterproof seal on the top. And to get that rubber gasket in there, it's gonna be trickier. So you wanna make sure it's nice and loose to make that easy. I can see that there. I'll hold it in the back. Get that. I'm kind of wiggling it back and forth to find the right spot to get the threads in perfectly. I don't want to cross thread this. I don't want to make it hard on myself. So yep, there we go. So take a second, be patient with it. And see, with this loose, you put that there, kind of line that up in that spot so I know where it is. And I'm going to kind of lift up with my shoulder, get that in there. Here we go. Now you might notice that I have no inner fender liner right here. You can reuse the old inner fender liner and put it back in place, or pick up an aftermarket inner fender liner. Now, I have Falcon shocks, and there's not many inner fender liners that work with those. There's a few out there. Most of them hide the shock mostly and only give you access to this knob, which is fine. I think it looks great and I love looking at it, so I bought the set from JCR Off-Road, and those are actually coming in the mail, and we'll be putting those in as soon as they arrive. But I figured I'd get all this buttoned up and working before that happened. To tighten these nuts, you're going to need a 13mm wrench and Allen's. So, front's all buttoned up, looking pretty good. You'll notice there's no side marker light here. We're working on that, and that will come soon.
With the fenders all done, it is absolutely amazing how much the Jeep has changed. Not only does it look completely different when I walk up to it, when I walk around it, when other people see it, but the amount of clearance I get because my tires are no longer hitting those fenders is absolutely incredible. Take a look here as my wheels drop down into these holes, and look at how much space I have between the fender and the wheel. It's really, really incredible. Flat fenders is something I should have done a long time ago, and I'm very happy with it. As an off-road enthusiast, someone who is spending a lot of time off-road, in addition to wanting something that looks great on-road, I am very happy with this upgrade. Take a look at that. Just absolutely spectacular. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and please subscribe so you can see all the other videos that we make. And ring that little bell if you want to get notified when new videos come out. My buddies and I work hard to take a little time to film things as we go out on our adventures. It's not easy, but it's worth it so we can document what we've done and share it with you. Thanks for watching.